Well, here we are, and I've asked some friends to drop in, and we're just going to have a general conversation. Darrell Waltrip, Cale Yarborough, Richard Petty. Cale, have you ever had a situation that you knew it was over, that the end was in sight?
Yeah, but it was in an airplane when it was.
Well, I know all about the airplanes. So what about race cars? What about Darlington? Didn't you leave the racetrack?
Well, yeah, but Benny, most of the times in a race car, when something happens, it happens so fast. If you blow a tire and hit the wall, it's just instant. You don't have time to think about, well, this could be it. This is going to be the end. But one particular time in my early career down in Darlington, South Carolina, I was racing with Sam McQuagg. He and I both were young race drivers, and we were eager to get at it. And we went into, I tried several laps to pass Sam, and would get up by him and almost up by him, and he would turn in down in turn one, and I'd back out and let him go. One particular time I got completely up by him going down the front stretch, and I says, well, I got him, So we both went off in the corner, and I didn't have him. So we tangled just a little bit, and my car got completely airborne. It just went up in there, over his car, completely over the guardrail. Didn't even touch the guardrail now, and it's about 30 feet, 25 or 30 feet down that embankment on the other side. So here I was going in that corner, probably back then 150 miles an hour, airborne. Now you got time to think. Now here I am flying out over the guardrail, and it's quiet, and all I could see were those hundreds of cars parked down that parking lot out there. But it happened pretty quick, and the car got airborne and kind of turned up sideways, and I looked down and I saw grass. And I knew it wasn't any grass on that racetrack, so I knew that I was in trouble. But that thing sailed out over that guardrail and down the other side, and it hit nose first, and it went end over end over end over end, and ended up leaning up against. I was there. Listen, I know how many times I was watching
on TV. That was one of the first races I remember ever watching on TV. And it was on ABC, Wide World of Sports, I think it was at that
time.
Still is. Yeah, buddy. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Well, I couldn't either. I couldn't believe this thing's going out of the racetrack, out in the parking lot.
I've never seen a car do that.
But luckily, I came out of it all right. But that was one time, yes, I did have time to think, well, when this thing does hit, it could be the end.
This is the first time I went to Darlington. I found out that was just customary. Cale went out on one end, somebody else had gone out on the other end. It got to be a real story about.
Show you where everybody's
there's a little hole here and a little hole there, and that's where everybody goes out and ends up in the road. Oh yeah.
Well, one thing about Darlington. Now I went there when the racetrack was first built, and I didn't have any money to get in, so I went under the fence and slipped in. This is a true story. And I have been through the fences too, and that's true too. And I have been over the fence.
Did it hurt you that day?
No, it didn't. Thank goodness. The car was completely demolished. I was driving for Banjo Matthews at the time, and it was completely demolished except right where I was sitting. So the good man was looking after me.
Yeah, my memories of Darlington is about as bad, I guess. I know we went down there in 1970 and qualified, and are really running good, so I go out and I practice a little bit, and I run in the wall going off of 4 and hit the inside guardrail and wipe the car out. So we had to run home, get another car, and get a short track car. And we had the Superbird at that time, and so we come back and brought that thing and got out and got qualified and got ready for the race, and run probably half the race or something. Run in the wall in the same daggum place, went back down, and when I hit the inside guardrail, all I could think about was the people in the pit. You know what I mean? I wasn't thinking about me or nothing. I said, man, I'm going to clean these pits out. But it hit the guardrail, and when it did, the car, turned upside down, rolled down the front stretch 2 or 3 times, and a bunch of boys raced across there, and the car was laying upside down. And I always, have them rags in my mouth.
The shop towels.
Yeah, the shop towels and stuff. Well, when the thing turned over, them things went everywhere, and they said, take the cameras off so his guts is coming out. But anyhow, I was laying up there upside down, and I guess
I let go of that rag.
I was semi-conscious. I was unconscious, but when they got to the car, had dislocated my shoulder, and my shoulder was hurting, and I come to just long enough to say, hey, don't grab my shoulder's hurt. So they messed around, and they got me out, and I didn't remember anything they took me in the infirmary inside there, and I was just passed out, and all of a sudden I go, click, 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 and I looked down, and he'd come in with a pair of scissors. I said, oh, no, and I passed back out. They cut my uniform out, Anyhow, so they get all squared away, and I'm still just going and coming. So they put me on the little thing, and they're going to take me out and put me in the ambulance. So they go out the door. First thing they do is some cat drops the side of the dang thing, and good thing he dropped it that way, because I held on, or I'd have been out in the dirt. You know what I mean? So they got me in the thing. So I passed out again. They go down the end of Pit Road, going against the traffic now, and the cat gets down there, and he starts to turn left to get out on the racetrack. And I said, whoa, you already seen me come up. I come up out of the back of that thing, and I said, make a right here. And I had to guide him all the way to the dadgum hospital, and I had to go over to Florence. Got over there, and they tried to put my arm back in joint, and I was, like I say, going and coming. Went in, they said, hey, he can't come in here, he's got to sign this release. I said, man, I ain't signed no release, so anyhow, some other boy come in and signed a release to let me in. They wasn't even going to look at me. They had me laid up on that table there, and I was laying there about, going and coming, and I could hear the doctors, they sound like it was 1,000 miles away, and they was trying to put it in real easy. One of them said, stand back, I'll put it in. He grabbed that thing, and I come about that far off the table, and he would stuck that dude in there,
You wake up again and pass out again.
Oh, man, I was out of it. Then, let me tell my tale now, okay? All right, so I had to spend the night, right? So when the truck left, they took all my clothes. So I had nothing but my racing.
I knew this was a 2-day wreck.
Okay, I had no clothes, all right? So Daddy, he'd stayed down there at some time, and so Linda, my wife, had messed around and got up some clothes. So Daddy sent his clothes. And here I am with my arm up like that, and he sends a slip-over shirt to put on. Walked out of that thing and had a pair of breeches on, and a deal about halfway over, no shoes, no socks, or nothing. And that was,
King Richard leaving the hospital.
You got it.
Well, you're talking about Thursday. You crashed the car on Thursday, the Superbird, and had to go back home. Well, after qualifying on that Thursday in 1970, I was going up the road, and I got just south of Society Hill, and I met one of the highway patrolmen of South Carolina. And while he was writing the ticket, I said, boy, did you hear about Richard Petty? He said, I just talked to Richard. He just gave you a ticket.
No, I wasn't going to tell that.
Got his autograph.
Yeah.